You're in the army. Are you either muscular,
son of a bitch,
or you're skinny?
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Which one do you choose? Well, let's find out. Because on Quora, the question has been posed. Is it better to be muscular or skinny in the army? Well, let's take a look. So Roland here says, skinny but strong is the best for a rifleman.
Oh, shit.
A machine gunner can be a little more muscular. For infantry, endurance is more important than raw muscular strength. However, when you're part of a tank crew, you better have some strong arms, as everything that has to do with tanks is quite heavy. The shells, the tools, most of the equipment. A 120mm shell for the Leopard 2 weighs almost 30 kilos. Yeah, so you gotta be ready to pick some things up. When you're logistics, it doesn't matter what kind of body type you have. Interestingly, when I served in the German Army paratrooper unit, some of our best athletes were serving in the headquarters company. They had nice desk jobs with regular working hours and weren't tired after 8-hour shifts. The soldiers from the infantry companies, on the other hand, often spend more than 16 hours a day in the field. And when we got back to the barracks, they were simply too tired to go for a run or hit the gym. Whenever you saw a bulky bodybuilder in our base, you could be sure that they had a desk job. To be fair, I think that says something about recovery, doesn't it? The people at the desk job have got time to recuperate from their workouts. The people out in the field, moving around for 16 hours a day, there's no time for recovery. The amount of sleep that they're getting, probably not enough rest for the amount of work that they're putting in. So Johan here responds saying sappers in the SADF bush war were particularly walking fit. When we sweeped the roads for mines, we literally walked kilometre upon kilometre, whereas our infantry escorts were cosily perched buffle troop carriers, but that was necessary in case we were ambushed. Gregory here says, every pound you have on your body fights against your effort to climb up a hill. If you're a ground pounder, heavy packs crush down all day, making even a long flat ground a grinder. Big legs, small torso, just the opposite of a gym rat. Take a look at the Tibetan Sherpas who carry loads for adventure up and down the world's tallest mountains. There we go. They're not big guys, they're just probably quite lean, they've got a bit of muscle under there, but they're not massive either. They've got what they need, and I can imagine that'd be pretty tiring. Here we go, just have a look at these dudes. It's just about carrying, it's just carriage. Look at that guy. That is like an incredible bag, oh my God. Paul says, I'm 66 years old and I was overweight about 55 pounds. I'm down 170 pounds and I feel 20 years younger. My Lord, look at that. Look at the loads those poor Sherpas are tasked with. Lol, I would be ashamed and entirely embarrassed to have my picture of one of them climbing a mountain with nothing but the world's expensive mountaineering outfit as my dumb face next to those Sherpas. It's pathetic the people who require such services of another human in order to claim they accomplished something. Big deal. Look at all that gear. It is astounding to me how the world generally reveres someone who summits Everest as elite or special, but removes the Sherpas, and only a few would make it out of 1,000 climbers. Yeah, that is crazy. Like, that's crazy amount that they're carrying. I never thought about that. Look at all, so much equipment, and there's a guy right behind him with equally large bag. It's that's ridiculous. So Baz here says, back in the day, I could run 1.5 miles on average in 8 minutes 43 as part of what was called basic fitness test. The first 1.5 miles were run in a squad, and then 1.5 miles back as individual best effort. I had just joined the unit when I took part in this. On the second part of the run, I was making good progress. The next thing I knew was this overweight guy with a beer belly come streaming past me. I said to him after I was impressed and shocked, to which he said never judge a book by its cover. In a nutshell, you have to have good heart and lungs in the army. And to the question, is it better to be muscular or skinny in the army? A little bit of both is better. It's possible to lose too much body fat on an overly long operation or exercise for you to not have enough energy to keep going. And if you're skinny, what body fat? Instead of being skinny, it's better to be lean. The SAS and the paras I've seen for the most part have been lean. In this picture below are 2 SAS soldiers on operations in Iraq. How would you describe their physique? Hard to tell because they're fully clothed. I mean, it looks like from their hands and their sort of way they're standing, they look like, I guess, lean, I guess. I mean, they don't look overweight, or you wouldn't be able to tell if they were really skinny, but you know, they've got a lot of gear on. They're probably quite lean, like they have muscle. So Simon here replies, says, I have family members in the paras. He has the exact same physique, being fairly tall, lean with plenty of muscle around the shoulders. They train very hard and eat well. Away from the barracks, maybe a different story. Interestingly, he does smoke a fair bit, but I guess you can get away with it at a young age. I remember him saying that the American base he stayed at in Afghanistan was much better than the British one. Top-notch gym and facilities and unbelievable food. And on his downtime, he was constantly working out and eating massive steaks. That sounds pretty good. Michael here says, the luxury of choice. Given a choice, the answer is that it all depends on the nutrition that you are supplied with and the energy output your daily tasks require. That's a very pragmatic way of answering the question. Infantry guys and their specialised extensions fare best if they are lean and fit. Lean is not skinny. Skinny has lower muscle mass than lean. So the smaller muscle mass will be under more stress for the given load. But anyone in a role that provides lots of nutrition, motorised transport, and technically skilled craft, exercised in an office, lab or workshop, will cope more easily with their duties with some additional muscle building. That's true. I had the unfortunate experience of being conscripted into the South African infantry. We were underfed and we all lost weight drastically. We did massive amounts of physical exertion and craved food continuously. Add this to the environment, the fact that we had no choice in our fate and the first year of duty and subsequent short-term tours, so we had insufficient stamina, which manifested as very poor motivation. We knew that the recce's, our special forces, could do triple the work on half our rations, but every one of them were volunteers. Their motivation was sky high. Next in line were the Parabats, the parachute battalion. These guys were renowned for their fitness and in the recce's sourced many, if not most, of their volunteers from the bats, selecting the cream of the crop. I never found out what bat rations were like, but they certainly were not skinny as us, so I doubt that their breakfast was a ladle of maize porridge, a tablespoon of reconstituted powdered egg and 2 slices of bread with a small cup of coffee. And lunch was probably more than a banana, 2 slices of bread and a small cup of tea. Such were the rations that they were provided with for those meals. I mean, just based off the food that he said, I would be absolutely starving. That would not be enough energy for me. Definitely the nutrition has got to play a massive role in being able to get your work done in the army. And then that, I can imagine that would be like a huge logistical nightmare almost. Like, how do we get all this food to everyone? We've got to source all this food, make sure everyone's well fed. It just becomes very complicated, doesn't it? In retrospect, the military conscripted me at far too young an age, 17, because I managed to finish high school and start on my diploma earlier than most. So I never grasped the concept of the army is what you make of it. Physically underdeveloped and tall, still a boy, was matched against a 32-year-old man as my PT buddy, simply because we were the 2 tallest guys in our platoon. He had the muscle and the fat of a developed man, and he was under far more stress than I was. And I thought I was going to die when it was my turn to carry him around. So you can imagine how he felt. So when in doubt, choose lean. And if you can't be lean, be skinny. So William here, he says, you should be as healthy as you can, regardless of your physical makeup. I've seen some very unhealthy skinny people and healthy husky people pushing the weight limitations of the army. Healthy husky people. You'll just need to be fit. I'll take somebody that can throw me over their shoulders and carry me out of the kill zone if needed, than somebody who can barely drag me out of it any day. Yep, that's true. You'd rather have someone who's got the strength, wouldn't you? I think being just like skinny with not much muscle is just a sort of a detriment, really. You kind of need to build yourself up. Well, that was interesting looking at the comments on that one. I think for me, I would probably choose muscular because I would have the strength to move things, strength to carry people, and I'd also want some stamina as well. Obviously, you don't want to be too muscular, but it's going to be quite hard unless you're on steroids of some kind. Maybe steroids would help you get that endurance as well. So who knows? But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please press that subscribe button, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
bitch.